there are many actually, who are bothered by the take from Coach Wiggins earlier. I can't deny it.
What, Damon Jones, I might do that?
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it real. If I was making $200,000 and one of my buddies or somebody that I always had a good relationship with said, hey, listen, what's the deal? You think so-and-so might play? And I'm like, why?
Well, let's use the example of LeBron James. Like, you would be willing to share that information with nefarious people.
That if I knew them and they're like, is LeBron going to play? And I'm like, I don't think so. And then I'm like, why? They're like, all right, we're going to lay a bet for $250,000. We're going to throw you $75,000 cash. All right.
I think, though, like, I agree with Wiggy more than normal today. But it's not that just that. It's that you know that there are countless people doing this exact thing without paying consequences. So you're sitting there, you're not getting cash.
Right.
You know this is going on with people that know Steph or anybody else or Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Embiid. And you know what, Wiggs, I go back to? The ownership's desire and the commissioner's desire to get rid of the players that sit on back-to-back nights, the star player missing games, and they changed the All-NBA award structure so that you had to play a certain number of games. My guess is they knew this was going on.
Right.
It wasn't just the ticket holder that didn't get to see the star. It was that Vegas and the betting world knew in advance what players weren't going to play, and they were making a crap load of money off.
I probably wouldn't do the Terry Rozier thing. I probably wouldn't throw my career away for that if I'm making that. But if I'm Damon Jones and I'm an assistant coach and I'm not making – a crazy amount of money, and somebody's like, listen, I'm going to give you $100,000 cash just to let me know if LeBron's going to play?
Chauncey Billups has thrown his whole career away as a head coach. He'll never be a head coach again.
Right.
He may be bounced out of the NBA Hall of Fame.
Right.
And he's...
Can you bet on the odds of that? Or
was making reasonable money.
Yeah, I might not do it if I'm Chauncey.
But when you bring up Damon Jones, like, you're trying to make a career in coaching right now. So you have almost, like, you haven't made enough for you to throw everything away.
Right,
if you go home to your family and you're like, oh, sorry, yeah, I was betting or I was part of a poker game and now everything's gone to S.
But how rich are the people on Wall Street that act on insider tips?
Right. And if we're talking about like, $100,000 cash, where you're like, I can get that by just telling a buddy of mine. That
we all agree that it's very enticing.
Right.
But
so for you to sit there, and I'm not saying you wouldn't, but I'm just going to keep it real. You probably, if I was Damon Jones, I probably would do that. Well,
it's the very, like, I could not agree with what Shaq said more. It's the very integrity of the game,
right,
that you are selfishly putting at risk yourself.
But with all due respect to Shaq, the guy got more cash than anybody to go to LSU. Like, he can't really stand up and be holier than thou about the rules about playing basketball. He totally got illegally recruited.
And if I'm a player in that league, I look at integrity of the game on how they treated me. Like, I love the NFL, but I was, and get it, I know it's what I signed up for, but they didn't treat me right. It was like, all right, go out there and something. Like, I don't even get insurance from them. Like, the fact that as a former player, I played 8 years, like, I don't get insurance from them.
Retired players don't get insurance?
No, you get 5 years, and then they're like, beat it, buddy.
Don't you have to, like, if you hit 10 years, don't you get something?
You get money. You get your, like everybody else that gets, what's it called when you get 65 and you retire? You get your
Social
pension?
Security?
Yeah.
Your pension.
This is Art from Walpole. What's up, Art?
Good morning, guys. I made a similar call the other day to Chris and Ken. We all have to be naive, guys. If we feel that everything in sports with the billions and billions of dollars bet every day is on the up and the up. I mean, we have to step back between referees and players. Come on. I mean, look at the call on Stephon Diggs a couple of weeks ago, that phantom call. That might have been a bet on something about Patriots scores in a particular quarter. It doesn't have to throw the entire game. But you know what? Come on.
We
have to step back.
We were talking about it earlier, about that particular call in that game. The officials, to me, are ripe for being involved in this because they're not even full time in the NFL.
Yeah, but not every call is rigged. Like some calls are just bad calls.
Correct.
Right, but there are bad calls, and then there's what happened against the Patriots and the Saints that Greg brought up, and then there's the NFC title game a couple years ago with the Rams and the Saints that Boomer brought up.
Yeah, I understand, but like
those were not bad calls. Those were impossible to defend.
But I understand, Curtis, but the Stephon Diggs thing, there's no way someone was benefiting from that. Like you can't. First of all, the Patriots went down and scored a touchdown anyway. So if you're trying to keep points up the board,
it doesn't mean that they're not going to try to. What was the over for that game? 40-45
for the Saints game. I don't remember what the over was. I can try and check.
Like it ended up being. I think the under ended up hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
what
was the number of that game? 44?
25-19 was the final score, so it
44.
ended up getting 244. Yeah.
Right? And so look at it going in. I mean, you don't think it's possible that the guy who's throwing that flag wants to – could be either side.
Right.
Wants to stop.
Why didn't he throw more flags then on that drive?
Okay, but you can do –
I can't make it because you don't make it obvious.
Too obvious.
You throw it early in the game, and then you're trying to affect the outcome of the game points-wise.
Yeah, I understand that you can believe that some things may be on the take, but I also don't think that you can say that every horrendous call made is a result of somebody being on the take.
I
think that's a bridge too far.
Saying that
no,
it's every
I understand. I just want to clarify that.
No,
I mean, you probably sorry, Curtis.
Yeah.
Prior to yesterday, you probably looked at instances in Terry Rozier's career in which you said, "Wow, he had a really bad game." Well, it turns out he didn't really have a bad game. He was throwing the entire game.
But not everybody's Terry Rozier, though. Either.
Correct.
My goodness, what are you not hearing? Yes, we get that. The point is that it doesn't mean that every call is a sign of a conspiracy to shave points.
But that's how you're making it seem.
No, what are you talking about?
Nobody's making it seem that way.
We're citing 2 calls in 7 years of NFL football.
Yeah.
In what way are you getting that to be 7 years of every call is on the take?
I would say, if anything, the advent of legal gambling platforms has created a more informed wagerer.
Correct.
Like look at Brees Hill's generation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, they are more apt to. There are guys listening now and ladies listening right now who I guarantee you, can call and tell you 10 instances off the top of their head where they had money on the line, and there was an odd call that was made at the end of a football game that prevented a field goal, or there was a performance by an individual in the NBA who you had a horrible game and is throwing the ball away throughout the entire game.
It was the kid they highlighted in college, the quarterback, where all he has to do is take a knee, go back, and the time runs out. And he ran 40 yards into the end zone, and then runs out of the back of the end zone, and it becomes a safety. And there were people on there talking about, I can't remember what college football game that was, where by him going out of the end zone into a safety, it ultimately ended up the spread. Something along
that. Was that the bad beats with SVP? He does that. He sometimes highlights on ESPN.
I saw it on social media. I can't remember what college, but the kid, literally, there was like 2 seconds on the clock. All he had to do is go back a couple of yards. He went 35 yards back into the end zone, and people are like, what the hell is he doing?
This is Phil from Danvers. Hey, Phil.
Hey, guys, listen, Wiggy, I just wanted a quick thing about what you said about the money. Look, I find you to be great entertainment. I really enjoy listening to you in the morning, but I really think you're hurting yourself by telling people live on the air that somebody who's making over $200,000, it's okay for him to risk his job and his reputation and his family's name and everything by just telling somebody that, somebody isn't playing the game. It's just not worth it.
But, Phil, you're not listening. Phil, you're not listening. I didn't say it was okay. I said if I was in that situation, I might do it. And I'm not saying it's right.
You're okay with it.
But I don't.
You're okay with it.
No, but I don't get how you say. I'm not saying, oh, you should do that. I'm saying if I was in that situation, maybe I might do that.
I think you're saying also that, you understand why somebody would do it.
Yeah, I don't get, people, listen, I'm not going to sit here and BS you and be like, mightier, holier than now and say, oh, my God, he's so wrong for doing that. I'm just keeping it a buck with you, Phil. If you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. If I was in that situation, who the hell knows?
You disagree with Shaq.
Yeah, I disagree with Shaq, but I don't know.
Well, you think any money is. There's no dirty money.
Listen.
Well, I mean, did Shaq say the money he got from LSU boosters was dirty money? I mean, it's such a hypocrite.
And I'm not saying
that.
and I wouldn't say oh, Phil, you capping because you would do it. I'm just saying this is me. This is my situation. And yeah, is it right? Could I get in trouble and end up like Damon Jones and, sully my name and my reputation? Yeah, but
I mean, gamblers have been talking about Terry Rozier and Game 7 of the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals since that happened, where he went, it was like 2 for 14 or something like that, 4 points. And people have been talking about that for a long time. Like, it's out there with, I guarantee you guys who are guys and gals who are wagering on the reg can give you 5 examples of times when it was clear to them that something was amiss.
Well, I think you can go this season. There were a lot of people that were pissed off about that Jared Goff touchdown, and that got called back, and refs were going up to Dan Campbell saying that it was a touchdown, but it got overturned by New York.
Great example.
There are plenty of times this season where it's come up.
Why don't you think that the pass interference call is reviewable? Because we all know they did that show and dance or whatever the hell after the NFC Championship. That next season, the NFL quote-unquote reviewed PI. But it is the most powerful call you have in sports, where you immediately can give a guy 60 yards and it's non-reviewable.
Right, and the thing about, like you just brought up, Greg, with Terry Rozier in that game from a few years ago, look at the Malik Beasley stuff when he got in trouble. There was a 2-minute highlight reel of so any play like a Terry Rozier, people are going to be like, oh, remember?
In this case, you're sharing it with La Cosa Nostra, the mob, and they're going to go out and they're going to put $250,000 on it. So that's the difference. I mean, it's not somebody whispering.
But
it's not Chauncey Billups whispering about how they're tanking the season to his buddy. It's sharing it with people who are going to go out and illegally make money off it. That's
a fair point. Real quick though. Yeah. One more thing. It's 2 separate things. Terry Rozier personally throwing his own stats is throwing the game. I don't think either of them are right. They're both wrong. But screwing the sports book over some money because you have inside information isn't affecting the integrity of the game. It's screwing the sports book, which is a billion-dollar industry. Who cares? They're 2 separate situations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, it's like I said, I know what they all did was wrong. I'm just saying, here's where I could see why somebody would do that in that situation. And if I was in that situation, maybe I might do it. I'm not going to sit here in front like I wouldn't. It's like people, we all know people. You might know people in law enforcement showing you some information that they shouldn't be showing you. But because you're really good friends with them, they're like, hey, look at what I see here. Or you might know somebody over here. Who's this? I'm just saying, when you're friends with people and you're in a situation, like he said, you're having a few drinks, next thing you know, it's like, and if he's like, hey, I'll float you a couple bucks on it. But that's me, though.
It's not
that, everybody like me, though.
If Wiggy is describing is that Damon Jones's circle included information that was very beneficial to people that wanted to pay him for it.
Bingo.
The people that are calling in saying holier than thou that Wiggy is immoral and he's a bad guy, it's easy to say that until you're presented with $100,000 for just a little bit of information and you can take care of your family. I'm not saying it is ethical, but to act like it is this clear, immoral, egregious act by a guy that's questioning the veracity of the game.
The sport.
It's just
listen. I wanted Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, and what he did was wrong. Right? I wanted him in the Hall of Fame, and what he did was wrong, and I get it. And people do things wrong, and then over time, they kind of redeem themselves, and not everybody agrees with me. Right? Curtis doesn't agree with me on the Pete Rose situation, but that's just my view of it. So for me, when I look at this, I know the integrity of the game is being tarnished.
Yeah.
I'm